This is Scott Richmond.
And Arnie Sherman.
You're listening to What Do You Know on Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and 98.3 FM. Arnie, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Scott. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to today's guest. It's going to be kind of...
be a little chaotic here in the
we have a lot
studio.
Of guests. Yeah.
In our massive studio. Even in our massive studio, we have 4, 5, 6 guests coming in from the Montana Special Olympics, which I'm very excited about.
Me too.
You know, it's interesting as I thought about the show today. It harkened back to an era when the wealthy families of America had a sense of contribution and creating new legacies and creating new resources for people, and in many cases less fortunate people. It's a stark comparison to the wealthy families of today in many ways, particularly the wealthy political families,
sure,
including the one that's in the White House right now, and their legacy is, fashion design and clothing lines and golf courses, things for themselves,
expendables, materials.
Well, rather than creating something of importance or value.
Yeah.
And as many of our listeners know, the Special Olympics had its roots in the early 60s when Eunice Kennedy Shriver, the sister of John Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy and Joe Kennedy, who was killed in World War II, started Camp Shriver at her Maryland farm. And then by 1968, it had created and had morphed into the Special Olympics, which now, fast forward, has 5.3 million athletes involved in 170 countries. We are going to hear today about the 2,000 athletes in Montana that participate every year in 122 sports. But the Kennedy family, Kennedy Shriver family, left such a great legacy on this country that most people probably don't know about. I mean, Eunice not only did the Special Olympics, but she went to Stanford University and studied sociology, and then later went on to work as a social worker and in women's shelters, and was one of the founders of the National Institute of Health.
Right.
Her husband, Sergeant Shriver, was ambassador to France. He created the Office of Economic Opportunity, one of the first offices under the Johnson administration to focus on helping, less fortunate and to provide economic development. He led the war on poverty. He created the Peace Corps, the Job Corps, and Head Start as part of his legacy. So look at that family, one family, doing the Special Olympics and National Institute of Health and all of those other organizations. A real legacy.
Do you feel like these families back then, they felt a certain responsibility to the community to give back because they had benefited so greatly personally through...
I think there was a sense of that. I mean, there is a sense of that today among some of the families. I mean, Warren Buffett is giving away almost all of his money to charity.
Right.
I just saw on 60 Minutes, Mike Bloomberg, who is worth $70 billion, is going to give almost all of that money away.
Right. And Bill Gates.
Bill Gates is doing the same. It's and the Google family. I mean, all of these folks have a contribution in stark comparison to the billionaire family in the White House. I just have to say this, putting politics aside, who talk about, their own personal wealth and building their own personal wealth and creating more resorts and activities for themselves.
Right.
And then when they look at the government, I have not seen one initiative about creating something new that would benefit people. It's always talking about tearing other things down and eliminating things instead of expanding and adding things that might make a difference. The only thing they want to add is a wall between Mexico and the U.S.
It's confounding to think.
And that's not going to happen. So, what's that billionaire family contribution?
Well, what's also confounding is that the folks that voted for him actually could use and benefit from some of the more social and proactive programs and community active programs. But
I mean, coal miners are out of work. What about education and training programs, for example? The coal industry, I mean, the dirty little secret is it's never coming back.
Right.
I mean, it's been replaced by automation. Even if there was a coal industry, they're not going to hire thousands of people back into that industry. there's 10 times more people employed in solar energy than there is in
coal,
in extractive energy.
That's interesting.
So, I mean, you have, I'm waiting to see some sense of benevolence, some sense of charity, some sense of commitment to a cause greater than themselves.
Right.
And I think the show today points out, and it's part of the reason they called it the Camelot years, when the expanded Kennedy family was in government. They took their role as a responsibility of creating resources and programs and opportunities, and then when they were outside of government, they did the same thing.
Right. So they put their money where their mouth was.
Yeah, they put their money where their mouth was in a way that has had lasting legacy. We're talking about 60 years later, and you have Special Olympics, and you have, there's no one out there that says the Peace Corps and the Job Corps and Head Start aren't good programs. That didn't create a lot
and
of
how many
good.
countries is Special Olympics?
170 countries.
And how many athletes?
5.3 million athletes participate in the year-round training, the educational program, the health evaluations, and the competitions. It's more than just a competition. Probably one of the most underrated benefits of the Special Olympics is that every participant gets a health evaluation.
Sure.
And that's in developing countries where the Special Olympics are part of the landscape. That's an important value-added service that the organization provides.
So let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have several guests from the Missoula Special Olympics, including co-chairs Al Kessler and James Scott, as well as some athletes and a host of other folks. You are listening to What Do You Know? Proudly presented by Dawn Maddox, Glacier Sotheby's International Realty. We'll be back right after this with the Special Olympics. Okay, we are back, and I happen to be, we were in the company of greatness here, broadcasting greatness, Alan Kessler, who is the co-chair of the PR committee for Special Olympics. Hey, Al.
Hey, how are you guys doing today? Thanks for having us on.
We're doing great. Now, who'd you bring with you?
I brought with me Coulter, Maul,
yes,
and another athlete, Hillary Benjamin.
Coulter, Hillary, welcome on the show.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So I got to ask you right after that. I want to get into the sports of this thing.
Absolutely. He loves sports.
You guys, I understand, compete in my old sport, shot putting.
Yes.
You both look like you're in a lot better shape than me. But I want to know, how you guys compare to the, the rest of the competition. What are your best distances in the shot put? What do you think?
I throw the 625, I believe. So I got a second place ribbon.
Wow, that's pretty good. And you, Coulter?
Well, in feet, about 21 or 22 feet, I got first.
Hey, wow, that's nice.
Are you a champion? Hey, he's a champion amongst
We're among, and that's not
right.
It's not easy to throw a 16-pound
not at all
that far.
And how long have you guys been involved with Special Olympics?
I've been in Special Olympics over 30 years.
Wow,
wonderful.
Wow.
How about yourself?
Since 2010.
Excellent. Are you guys both from Western Montana? Where are you from?
Missoula.
Missoula.
Right.
I was born in Texas, but I'm originally here from Missoula.
So do you train all year round?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Because they're in, they look great shape. I think that we could use them to help move some of the furniture.
Well, give us. So
ask them about they just competed in the area games, the 5 Valley area games.
So how'd that go?
That's how come they both got such great tans this past Wednesday.
They're looking good. So tell us about that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was fun. Track and field was up in Frenchtown.
Frenchtown, right?
Yep. And then bocce was at Prairie Fair Park, and then swimming was at the Y.
Right. And how many competitors were there? Were there a lot?
Yeah, there was a lot. I don't know how many, but there was a lot.
About 100, maybe.
Well, that's pretty good for area competition.
Yeah, for 5 Valleys, they usually average about almost up to 20 teams. My former radio partner, Craig Johnson, who's on the trail now, 103.3, he and I used to MC those programs, the opening ceremonies or the closing ceremonies of those programs, and they draw a lot of athletes from all around this area.
So tell us, there's about 2,000 athletes involved in the entire state of Montana, correct?
That's the target goal. Actually, okay. I think we're probably going to end up with, for the Summer Games, May 16th through the 20th, we're probably looking at probably 1,200 to 1,500.
That's fantastic.
And then when you add on to that the support staff,
And the
families, and everything
volunteers.
else, and not necessarily volunteers, but the support staff, coaches, trainers,
Right.
stuff like that, plus
Right.
family. They have a lot of families that come along with them. The athletes do. We're probably looking at over 2,000 people, and if you want to put a dollar figure on that, although I don't know if it's necessary, but if you want to put a dollar figure on it, they figure it's worth about $1 million to the Missoula economy
Right.
in that weekend. And one of the primary reasons it is the 16th through the 20th is that's the week after graduation, so they can find hotel and motel rooms.
That's great. And how come Missoula is hosting the statewide games?
Each of the major cities in Montana, like prior to Missoula's 3-year run, it was
Right.
in Billings, and now from here it'll move on to Great Falls for a 3-year run over there, and then it'll be one more place. I don't know which city it is. I'm sorry. And then after that, it goes someplace. It'll come back to Missoula in probably about 10 years.
Wow.
And it's a lot of fun. I really do.
How long
encourage
have you been involved with it?
With the summer games?
Yes.
Just for the 3-year run here. Shortly after I retired, Bob Norby, who was the executive director and CEO of Special Olympics Montana, came to me and he said, "Would you be interested in handling public relations and marketing for the Special Olympics Summer Games?" And I
Right.
said, if I could involve my wife, who is also in the media as well,
Right.
sure, we'd be interested in doing it. But as far as being involved with Special Olympics, 20-some years.
Wow, that's
Somewhere
great.
around there. I see we have another guest with us right now, Sarah Mariani, who is with First Interstate Bank, right? And you are also involved with area games here in Missoula. Is that right?
I am. I'm on the Five Valleys area management team.
Go ahead, guys. You get to ask questions.
Well, you're doing a good job.
We have Al here. I mean, I can hang back a little bit.
So, are you related to Mark?
I am. He's my husband's cousin.
Ah.
We're
Well.
Blue Ponies.
He's been a guest of
So
ours
you
a few
married into the family.
I did.
Oh, that's good. That's great. So what's your job with the Special Olympics?
For the state games, I am the awards director, and then I've helped a little with the PR committee, and I'm also the area liaison. So I relay information between the area management team and the.
And are you originally from Montana?
I am. I'm a Havre native.
Ah,
Ever.
you're a
Yep.
blue pony.
I am.
Yeah.
A blue pony in the
Our friend
room.
Brian Morgan's from there. You know Brian, right? Adventure Life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, get him involved.
Yeah, when Mark comes and does the show, we always,
Right, we
give him a hard time
Haver.
about being a blue pony. And we told him those were his best years, actually.
Sarah, how did the summer games go? I mean, the area games go out in Frenchtown, and let's see, there were a couple of other locations, I think, as well.
Yes, they were wonderful. Hillary and Coulter can probably speak better to that. They competed at the games and I think did very well, had a lot of fun.
You got sun. You do look. you
Well,
both
let
have
me
a
ask
lot
you
of-
this. The competition, does it extend beyond the state level? Do state champions go on and meet nationally?
Oh, yeah.
And then national champions go international?
Well, in 2016, the
Yes.
international games were held in Los Angeles,
Angeles,
and
I know.
ESPN provided some spectacular coverage
Yes,
of that.
they
And that's-
did.
I think that was a real critical point. I think for Special Olympics, in the point of these people are athletes. They
Yes.
compete hard, and finally, the people who cover athletics realized that fact and said, we need to do some work on this and we need to promote this a lot more. And they did a wonderful job of it. But from those were the world games. There's the competition, the state games here. Then do they go regional after
Yeah,
that?
they do.
Where would that be held? Do you know, Hillary?
This is the tryouts to go to the USA in Seattle for next year.
And then after Seattle, if you qualify from there, you would go to the international games. Last year they were held there. This summer they were held in Austria.
That was for winter games.
Oh, those were the winter games. Okay,
Yes.
they were held in Austria.
Right.
And we should mention here, too, that Tim Zavarelli, who is a local athlete,
Right.
made that trip to Austria as a representative of the state of Montana and the law enforcement torch run. I mean, carried the torch. Tim's got a small video up that you can see, I think, on YouTube. I'm not sure, but I think it's on YouTube.
Right.
Of the effort he put forth with other athletes. They ran, I think he said something like about 30 miles through the Austrian Alps. I
Wow.
mean, up and down, but his whole goal while he was there was to get some sausages because he really likes sausage.
So how many events do Montana athletes compete in? I mean, there's lots of events as part of the.
Let's see if we can remember all of them. You guys help me if I leave something out, okay? There's swimming.
Right.
There's bocce.
Yep.
There's golf.
Yep.
There's the track and field events.
Kayaking.
Kayaking. I'm sorry.
Soccer.
And equestrian.
Mm-hmm.
And motor activities, cycling.
Yeah.
In fact, we're looking for some volunteers there, as far as I know. All they have to be is just simple course, what would you call it? Course monitors.
Course monitors.
They're looking for about 40 of them because they want to cover because they're going to be riding, unless I'm mistaken, they're going to be riding in the university area for the cycling.
Let's do a quick ID.
Well, actually, no, let's ask a quick question before we do our ID. So how do people find out more about the Special
And if
Olympics?
they want to volunteer,
right, how do they volunteer?
How do they get a hold of you?
They can simply go online, SOMT.org/volunteer. I think I got that right. Yep. Okay. And I should also point out we have a closing deadline for that of the 5th of May,
which
a week from,
May
this coming
5th.
Friday.
Yeah.
Right. Coming Friday. Exactly. All right. You're listening to What Do You Know with Scott and Arnie, proudly supported by Dawn Maddox, Glacier Sotheby's International Realty. We have a full house here. We have Al Kessler, we have Hillary Benjamin, Coulter Mall, Sarah Mariani, and we will be joined later on by James Scott. Arnie.
So one of the things that was surprising to me, I saw somewhere that you have athletes from 8 to 86.
I think that's a pretty close approximation.
That's amazing. What does the 86-year-old compete in? I want to go up against him. I might have a chance. I might have a small chance, depending on what like chess. If he's participating in chess, I might have a chance.
That I'm not sure of.
No. But that's amazing, that kind of age range.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, our age cutoff as far as the summer games is around 16. Is that right? Or is there for the adult competition is 16 and up or 12 and up, and from there on down? Motor skills? Okay. Yeah. I'm wrong. I don't know the details. I'm just PR.
Right. Well, we know in that website we can go to get the details.
Right.
But if somebody's listening and they have someone who wants to be a member, what are the criteria to become an athlete?
You can ask.
I would say, boy, I have no idea how if you wanted to become a member of what? If you wanted to join Special Olympics
and participate
as an intellectual,
like
as an athlete. Okay.
Right. Yes.
I would say the best way to do it is go to SOMT.org.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's the state website, and from there you can do anything.
Coulter, how did you first decide to participate? That's what I want to know.
Actually, it was my girlfriend Hillary actually got me started.
Oh, well, that explains it. Both are in shot put, and so you got him involved.
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, then I have to ask you, how'd you get involved?
Oh, I got involved. I started when I was 8 years old. You can start when you're 8.
Right. And how'd you find out about it? In school?
When I was in grade school and stuff.
And they said that you might be a good person to participate in this? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's a great organization. Before you guys got here, Arnie and I were talking a little bit about how the organization started. And
back in 1968?
Yeah, and it was in 1968?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and do you guys do any work with the Special Olympics beyond just the summer games? I mean, is it an all-year thing for you?
Yes, there's like boards also.
And so you participate on the boards
yes.
and right. And there's education programs?
Yeah, there's a global messenger training.
Right.
I was on the board of directors.
Okay. And what does that entail? What kind of?
We just talk about like what's coming up, what's coming up in Special Olympics and stuff.
Sure.
And what they're doing around the country and what they
Yep.
That's fantastic.
And what the competition looks like
Yep. What board are you on?
I'm on the torch run board.
Okay. So what does that mean?
It just basically like you go to fun stuff like I'm coming up in September. I'm going to Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
For the International Torch Run Conference.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you guys are involved all year round, and when you're not training and doing Special Olympics, where do you work?
I work at Brook Street and McDonald's.
Excellent. Okay.
I work at Jimmy John's on Brook Street.
two of my favorite restaurants. By the way, I just found out. Okay,
Scott spends a lot of money at this.
McDonald's for breakfast, Jimmy John's for lunch and dinner. I found out that you can actually get a Jimmy John's sandwich wrapped in lettuce.
Yeah.
I had no idea. You can cut the bread out.
And then what's the purpose of getting a sandwich, right? I want that part of it.
I'm trying to compete.
So I got to tell Hillary and Colton my shot put story.
Okay.
So I'm on the high school shot put team because the coach felt sorry for me. I was not very good. And I was in a competition with the state champion from another school. He was from another high school. He was from Manhasset High School on Long
back
Island.
in New York, by the way.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, he could throw 60 feet.
Whoa.
You know, and this is a long time ago. He could throw 60 feet. And I could throw about 40. I think my best was about 41 feet, which was not bad, right? That's okay. That's
really good.
41,
No.
41's not bad. But I knew I wasn't going to win. And for all of you listening in, the men throw a 16-pound shot put. So I already made my best throw, and I knew I wasn't going to throw any further than that. So I picked up a 12-pound shot put, unbeknownst to anyone else, and got into the ring and threw it 61 feet.
Oh, wow.
And everybody went crazy.
Is that right?
Yeah, you should have seen the look on the other guy's face, who was the state champion. I had just broken his record. You know, I have the rings until someone started screaming, disqualified.
Uh-oh.
And I knew I would get disqualified. I just thought I would, at least get 1 minute of fame and glory.
Arnie's stories, by the way, when he reaches back into his bag of tricks, especially from back in New York, there's some wild stories.
I don't recommend that to you or anybody listening, but that's what I did. And for 1 minute, I had a great feeling of exuberation
and triumph. Well,
And
let me
triumph.
ask you guys a question. What athletes do you guys look up to personally as kind of, you'd like to be like them? Like, who's your favorite athlete?
Oh, I like the swimmer.
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
Okay.
You like all the gold, the bling he's got around his neck from winning all those gold medals.
He's incredible.
Now, are your gold medals like those gold medals when you win?
No. Because with the Olympic ones, you have to spend like so much tax money or whatever on certain.
Right.
Well,
So let's talk about money for a minute. I want to talk about money.
Uh-oh. Arnie's going to talk about... All right, big... now,
We're all leaving. I'm trying to talk about money here.
pivot when the next guest comes.
We'll save that question for the next guest. I bring up money, they all leave.
I have a question for you guys, though. So so Olympic athletes that you looked up, Michael Phelps. How about teams-wise? Like, what are your favorite sports other than, are you a Mariners fan, a Seahawks fan?
Actually, I like the Dallas Cowboys.
What? What do you mean you like the
America's
Dallas
team.
Coulter,
Colter, you got to realize we're Giants fans.
we're New York Giants fans. How can you be a Dallas Cowboys fan? She's from Texas.
Yeah, that's how it happened, right?
Hillary's
Were you
from
a
Texas.
Dallas? Were you a Cowboys fan?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
You're a Dallas Cowboys fan, too?
Yes.
Before I even started dating her, I always liked the Dallas Cowboys.
You did?
Yeah.
Is that how you guys met? Is over the Dallas Cowboys?
We actually met at McDonald's.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, question. So, what do you think now? Who's going to be your quarterback? I mean, don't they have a new quarterback?
No, they're set with their quarterback.
Why? How are they set? That Romo's
because
gone.
Romo's gone, and Dak Prescott is their quarterback.
You're hopeful, Arnie.
But I want to get back to Al. Al, let's talk about money.
Alan
here.
Kessler.
How obviously
about
there's money, corporate sponsors. How do
I
people?
don't have any money.
I know you. Don't.
I'm retired now.
I know you have no money.
I'm financially insecure.
But the organization needs to raise money from corporate sponsorship.
That's right.
And you got many corporations involved.
I'm trying to remember.
What?
We raised
A lot.
$4 million for that
Something
3-year
like-
period.
yeah.
$4 million in Missoula.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Who
Thanks to
are the big donators?
You might as well give
the
them
big
some
donators
props.
will be in the Missoulian.
Right.
But I would say, as far as fundraising, the fundraising committee, two people that I remember the best on it, Gene Peterson and Jim O'Day, worked very hard on
Jim
that,
O'Day's
a lot of other people. But
great supporter.
as far as the premier sponsors, Dennis and Phyllis Washington Foundation, the First Interstate Bank, Montana Television Network, Providence Health and Services of Western Montana, Town Pump, University of Montana. We should point out the University of Montana has been so gracious for their participation in both staff and facilities for the summer games all over this 3-year run, because they're the ideal location to headquarter all of the events and to host a lot of the events. I mean, off campus we have kayaking at Frenchtown Pond.
Yep.
The equestrian is at the equestrian park on the west side of the city on 27th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the cycling is over in the university area, but I don't know exactly the course. All of this, all of this information will be in the Missoulian the week of the games, as well as a map of the operations and where all of the venues will be.
Wonderful. Remind us the date on when the games are?
May 16th through the 19th.
Okay.
Is it free to the public or is there admission?
Oh, it's free to the public. Everything is free to the public.
Well, then we should be getting all of our listeners out there.
If there's anything that you don't want to miss, there's one. Well, I'll mention two things. We have to say thank you to the Missoula Downtown Association for their participation, because on Tuesday, the evening of all of the athletes arriving in town, on Tuesday evening, the 16th, all of the athletes are hosted at a barbecue, and thanks to Matt Ellis of Osprey Baseball, because he provides the facility, and we have a big party there for the athletes, and the law enforcement torch run runners bring the torch in that evening, and they have live music, and it runs from 5 until 7. It's like a social kind of thing for everybody to get together that's involved in game management, athletes, trainers, and some of the volunteers. Then the next evening at that would be the 17th at 7 o'clock, Washington Grizzly Stadium. You're going to see a real special event, because it is just like what you saw during the ESPN coverage of the games in L.A.
Well,
because
terrific.
It's the parade of athletes. Everybody is welcome. It's at 7 o'clock. Gates are open, I think, about 5:30 or 6. In fact, Christy McGill, who used to be with the University of Montana, she is now at the university she's working for Data Information Services for the state of Montana over in Helena. She sent me a timetable. The gates open at 6 on the 17th. That's at Washington Grizzly Stadium. There's a band coming from from Boise.
Right.
The High Street Band. YouTube them. High energy. They wear zoot suits, and they play any kind of music you can imagine. Dance music. And if you've never seen these two get after it, you got to see them dance.
Dancing shot putters. I think there's a market for that.
The opening ceremonies start at 7. Some of the other entertainment that will be there that night, Mismo Gymnastics, the Missoula County High School bands combined, 200 band members will parade in with the athletes. Super Skippers are going to be performing. Monty and Ollie will be there. The High Street Band plays during the ceremony as well. They light the cauldron, which is the Olympic flame, if you will, brings in. Governor Bullock will be there as a guest speaker. Fireworks and a lot more fun. So everybody.
That sounds like a fantastic event.
That is the 17th of May, Wednesday of May.
Wednesday of May. And if you don't listen, I mean, one of the things, if you talk about the Special Olympics and you talk about who's involved, and I'm looking at this laundry list of folks that are involved.
Right.
I mean, Missoula is a very benevolent, charitable town anyway. I don't think anything captures that level of, charitable
than the Special
Olympics. I mean, this is the penultimate.
It's great. It's great participation, and this is, it's a full-page ad, and it's really tiny print, and everybody gets mentioned. That's a lot of people that really have a lot of fun.
And a lot of companies.
And we invite everybody to come out.
Well, the fact that you raised $4 million for a 3-year program is commendable to the organization as well as to the community.
Well,
it's a family activity, right?
Very much so.
And the organization is family focused.
Absolutely.
And so, this creates a tremendously supportive and nurturing environment for athletes to participate.
Well, one thing that in our last game management team meeting, and we start meeting in September of the previous year, and then we meet once a month till after the first of the year, and then we start 2 meetings a week or 2 meetings a month up the last quarter before the games begin. And Bob Norby, executive director and CEO of SOMT, That's Special Olympics Montana. I get into the habit sometimes of doing that. But he mentioned in the last one, and we had a guest speaker here from the tribes, the Salish Kootenai tribes, and they are becoming involved now in Special Olympics Montana, as well as a lot of the other tribes across the state. There are, I think either 5 or 7 reservations across the state.
I was going to ask that because the organizational entities that participate, the 65 communities, are more than just the major towns in the state. You have tribal
absolutely. I mean, I'm trying to remember. It's one. I don't know if it's Outlook or not, but they send a team. Seems like they sent a team last year of about 3, and they had so much fun. The athletes just enjoyed themselves. A couple of other things that go on that the public doesn't get to participate in, but the athletes take a tremendous amount of enjoyment, and I know that these two could speak to that, and that's the dance and party that they have on Wednesday night. Is it
at the Olympic Village, right?
No, they have a carnival.
Oh, really, a carnival?
Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Where
That's at Thursday night. No, it's at the
Adams
Sarah, come here, tell us about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Mariani, cousin to Mark Mariani.
Well, on Thursday evening, there will be a dance carnival held at the Adams Center for the athletes. And I think this year the theme, it's a Hawaiian luau theme, I believe. Each year they've had
Hawaiian
something
luau
unique.
in Montana. Yeah. Who would have thought?
So that's really fun. They have activities set up, carnival games, and some celebrities that come in. We have Miss Montana coming. She'll be available to take pictures with the athletes and dance with them out on the floor. Ms. Super M Montana. She'll be there as well. And
what's her name? Do we know her name?
Nicole Yost.
Yes,
her name.
Sure. I know Nicole.
And then
do not give Scott her phone number.
She's been here in the offices. Don't blow my cover, Arnie.
Miss Montana is Lauren Schofield. She's actually from my hometown, Havre. So
is that right?
Shout out to her. And I'm not sure what other celebrities. Usually there's some athletes.
So tell me why Havre turns out so many athletes. Why are Blue Ponies, go on to, do greater fame and fortune?
Well, there isn't a lot to do up in Havre. So
I was going to say, have you ever been to the High Line?
So, Sarah, were you an athlete?
I was, but no, I didn't excel in athletics the way that Mark did.
Well, of course. But what was your sport?
Tennis was my favorite sport to play.
Well, Mark played tennis, too. He was an all-state tennis player in high school.
And I absolutely was not. And then I also enjoyed bowling, which is something Hillary and Coulter do.
Is bowling part of the competition? There's not bowling in the Special Olympics, no.
There's lawn bowling.
Well,
bocce.
Bocce, yeah, that's right.
It's the own separate entity, basically.
Right.
Bowling now.
They decided to have separate bowling competitions around the state throughout the year, regionalize it so that more athletes could attend.
This sounds like a pretty fun job for you, right? I mean, you got a smile on your face, and this must be, a lot of people don't always go to work and have a smile on their face when they're hanging out with the people they work with. Is that the kind of atmosphere on a daily basis?
It is.
Working for the Special Olympics?
It is. I don't even know how many volunteer hours I put in, maybe 300 a year, and it feels like 5. The volunteers that you work with and network
so you
with.
put 300 hours in this, and then you have another job, right?
Oh, yes.
And what do you do?
What is your other job?
Yeah.
I work for First Interstate Bank.
Oh, that's right.
One of the premier sponsors.
Okay.
I'm a commercial banking representative. So,
Arnie, do we need a loan?
Well, it depends on how much money we contribute to the Special Olympics.
Turn the table. Very good.
Borrow some money from First Interstate and invest it in the Special
Interstate, Sarah?
oh boy, since 2005, since right out of college.
And you went to school at the university
I
here?
did.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Do you have a family here in town?
I'm just a husband.
Just a husband,
Yep.
okay. Very good.
Moved here for college. My degree's actually in journalism, radio, television production.
Hello.
Well, then you can see, then you can assess the sophisticated operation that we have here.
We can't poach, can we, Al? We call that poaching, right? Oh, look at that.
I recently told Al that I had requested my internship be with the Craig and Al show years ago.
Oh, my God. Well, they used to be here, by the way.
My
Al
professor
retired
turned that
and
down.
screwed everything up. I told him that when I first met him. I'd only been here for 4 years, and I met Al, and he's like, I'm retiring next year. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I just got here. I must have drove him out.
So the 300 hours that you volunteer, which seem like 5, what do you do during most of that time as a volunteer?
Most of it is actually behind the scenes on the planning committees, whether at the area level or the games management team, just organizing volunteers, doing trainings for these volunteers. I really like working with the athletes. That's my favorite part, but I haven't done as much of that because we've been so busy with planning the games.
I should point out, you mentioned training of volunteers, and some of the volunteers have very specific positions like medical care and some of the other positions. However, if you just want to be, like I mentioned earlier, a course monitor or anything simple like that, no training is required at all.
To do that kind of volunteering.
You could be carrying water to a bunch of people. You could be serving lunches, bag lunches, which we'll get around to. I need to mention a couple of people in organizing the luncheons for these. But the food management or just getting the food distributed, pointing people in the right direction, acting something as simple as a cheerleader and giving a player or giving an athlete a hug at the end of the run or at the end of a toss or anything like that.
That's some of the most rewarding volunteer work that I can think of.
There's three words that we talk about a lot as far as Special Olympics: engage, empower, and enrich. And that's what you'll find. And it works both ways, both for you to engage the athletes, empower the athletes with their competition, and enrich their lives. You will find the same thing happens to you in reverse. That's all I have to say there. Now,
yes,
we mentioned lunches. I'm gonna turn the tables here and pose you guys a question.
Oh no!
And that is,
yes,
how many lunches do you think we have to come up with over this period of this event?
Yes.
10,000.
He's low. I'll give you a clue.
Low.
Oh. How many athletes are there?
Well, it's 1,600.
1,600, 14.
But then you got all the rest.
3 days. Hold on.
I'm low.
4, 12, 35,000.
No.
You're way over. It's about 18 to 20,000 lunches is what we'll come up with. And lunches and food. And I should thank that the two people that have handled most of that.
That's hard. That's hard to do.
Kay and Mike Duffield. Okay. They have worked very hard and this is their third year. They have been spot on in getting this done. And also the Knights of Columbus here in Missoula. We love the Kays. They are. You should see those guys make sandwiches. If you cannot imagine the number of slices of bread, buttered or mayonnaise or stuff like that, and meat stuffed into them, I tell you what, they do a heck of a job, and they've done it for 3 years in a row.
That's incredible.
I sort of hesitate to mention too many names because I'm sure if I did that,
there's hundreds of names on this list.
It would be hard for me to try, and I don't want to miss anybody. So once again. There will be a special insert in the Missoulian on the week of the event, as well as a program and a map of where all the venues are.
Sure. So it's clear that this is a well-oiled machine as an organization. I want to get back to the sports part of it for a minute. Who trains you? I mean, you're working. Who are the people that volunteer on the athletic side? Is it University of Montana, athletic staff that are working with you? Who gives both of you? Coulter, Hillary?
We'll go to Coulter first.
Okay.
Basically, it's just like coaches from the community, for example.
Right. That have back. So you're getting a professional coach working with you on this. And then during the rest of the year, throughout the year?
Yes.
So anytime that you need, or when you're in training, you have a training program for this, they work with you.
Yes.
Same with you, Hillary?
Yes, we train every Saturday.
Really, all year round?
No, just for the summer game.
Leading up to the summer game.
Leading up.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered doing a different sport or trying a new sport while
she does more than you do. You do more than that than shot put, right?
Yeah, I do swimming and track and field.
So swimming, track and field, and shot put. Well, shot put is part of track and field, right?
Yeah.
And then how about you, Coulter?
We did bocce last year.
Bocce?
Yeah.
I like bocce. Actually.
Yeah, it was fun.
Actually, good.
And what swimming event do you participate in?
I do the breaststroke, 50 and 100.
50 and 100?
Okay.
I do the 50, 100 backstroke.
Wow. I did the backstroke once for about 20, and that was, I got too much
20
water.
strokes or 20 yards?
20 strokes. 20 strokes, 20 yards. What's the difference?
Well, look, if anyone wants more information, actually, the Special Olympics will be May 16th through the 19th all over Missoula. This is the third year, Al, of
That's correct. Yeah.
the third.
This is final year. We're in our finale.
We're in our finale, so we want Missoula to show up and to make us proud, right?
Yes.
Missoula earned the spot, and one thing is clear is that the donations and the involvement from the community is really strong. If folks want more information about the Special Olympics, they can go to www.smot.somt. I screwed it up. I had 4 letters. www.somt.org.
Just remember, don't allow Scott to participate in the spelling competition because it will really affect your team standing.
SMOT.org. We will be back after this.
SOMT.org.
SOMT.org. Did I not say that?
Special Olympics Montana. SOMT.
Acronym.
Yes.
See this? You see he could give me the whatchamacallit, the beef now.
We're ganging up on you.
Yes. Okay. I'll take it. SOMT.org. May 16th through the 19th, all over Missoula, but primarily around the university. We will be back after this with our final words with the folks from the Special Olympics. Okay, we are back. We are back. We're going to give you money. Well, wait a minute. Arnie, did you just make a donation?
Yes, I made a donation. I want you to double my donation.
What was your donation?
It was only $10. That's all she asked for.
I will double your donation. Let's hear it.
Look at that, $20.
Right. We will do a donation.
Did you see the moth that came out of his pocket when he reached for that 20?
I got alligator hands.
Yeah. There we go.
So let's in our wrap up segment. Let's talk a little bit about what are next steps with the Special Olympics.
Yeah, what are the needs of the organization? Where are things? How can we help?
Of a most immediate nature, let's get Sarah back in here.
Sarah, come on, tell us what do you guys need?
We've got some special needs as far as area volunteers, correct?
Yes, for the state games, again, you can go to SOMT.org to sign up to volunteer, and everybody seems to love to volunteer for the state and wants to come back.
Right.
Well, the state games are moving to Great Falls next year, but we still have the area games, which take place in April every year. Mm-hmm. And for anybody who's interested in volunteering, we have year-round positions on the area team. The positions we need filled right now are an assistant director, a development coordinator, a raffle coordinator, and a fundraiser coordinator.
And these are, if you've got the extra time, get after it. And how do they, get involved in that? Is there a special website to go to or somebody to contact?
We do not have a website at this time, but our area director, his name is Jose Diaz, and you can certainly reach out to him via email or phone. I'll go ahead and share his email with you.
Sure.
And also, if you can't catch up with anybody that way, I would urge anybody that's interested in volunteering to. Would you guys mind act as sort of as a sieve to go ahead and contact these people here, because Scott knows how to get a hold of me and I know how to get a hold of Scott because we trade numbers back and forth as far as money.
You've bailed him out on a few occasions.
Not literally, but so if you miss any of this information, just call you guys here.
Good.
I know,
so Jose.
I believe your websites, if I'm not mistaken, have links established on them as well.
Yeah, we do.
To go to SOMT.org.
They go to the show, What Do You Know, on the Newstalk KGVO website. But Mr. Diaz, Jose Diaz's email.
It is thestunt, THESTUNT @gmail.com.
That's great.
And he would be happy to visit with anybody.
Good. Al, what else we got on our laundry list?
Also, this has come up at the last couple of game management team meetings. And Bob Norbio comes to every meeting and addresses us for some information. And he has a vision which all of us have bought into. Mm-hmm. And it's a good vision. And we would like to increase the number of athletes statewide. Right now, it has been static at somewhere between 1,100 to 1,300 for several years. We'd like to get that up to about 2,000, right, Sarah?
Right. Actually, we're just now over 2,000.
Oh, really?
Yes, we're over 2,000.
See, I was right, Al.
And
Once on the show.
The goal is to hit 3,000 athletes by 2020. And
right.
I think we're well on the way. In the last year, we've created about 8 to 9 new teams around the state, including some of the reservation teams.
Right. So we have about, as I understand it, in Montana, there are about 20,000 people that are classified as having intellectual disabilities.
2,000.
No, 20,000.
20,000.
Oh,
people.
20,000.
In
Okay.
Right, and we're looking
Okay.
for 15% of them to be athletes.
Absolutely.
That seems like a good goal, a
Okay.
reasonable goal to
So,
achieve.
in closing, once again, the most important day.
You're listening to the Al show, but Al Kessler show.
When he sees a mic, he goes.
It goes. I like it. I like that.
The 16th through the 20th are the days the games will be here. The probably the most fun event will be the opening ceremonies, which is on May 17th. Gates open at Washington Grizzly Stadium at 6 o'clock. The event starts, and there will be entertainment and things to do once you walk in the gate. The official opening ceremonies begin at 7 o'clock. And invite everybody to attend. And if you'd like to volunteer, Scott, what would that website be again?
Well, you could go to newstalkkgvo.com and click on the link.
Or SOMT.org.
SOMT.org.
And you have until the 5th of May to volunteer.
The 5th of May to volunteer.
That's great.
Well, this has been a wonderful,
Al,
wonderful
Sarah,
show.
and in particular, Hillary and Coulter. Good luck.
Thank
Good luck.
you.
And I want to see medals around your neck.
Arnie, great show.
Hey, we'll
Those are for you.
see you next week.
See you
It's
next
great.
week.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to What Do You Know?
I can't wait for the next show, Scott.
I'm excited too, Arnie. If you'd like to suggest a guest, send me an email at scottrichmond@townsquaremedia.com. We'll see you next week. And thanks for listening to Newstalk KGVO.